14 The Cut, we're here this week with some news, and it is regarding Megan Thee Stallion. She has been trending for the past 24 hours in regards to her live video, and here is exactly what she said. Why don't you guys take a quick listen?
So, point blank period, now, on this day, I want to tell y'all that 1501 trying to tell me I can't put out no music. And I've been seeing a lot of little shit on the internet. Motherfuckers be talking shit. And it's real crazy because all I did was ask to renegotiate my contract. Then it became a big old thing. When I signed, I didn't really know what was in my contract. I was young. I think I was like 20. And I didn't know everything that was in that contract. So when I got with Roc Nation, I got management, real management. I got real lawyers. And they was like, do you know that this is in your contract? And I was like, oh, damn, that's crazy. No, I didn't know. So I'm not mad at 1501. I wasn't upset because I'm thinking in my head, oh, well, everybody cool. We all family. It's cool. It's nice. Let me just ask them niggas to renegotiate my contract. Soon as I said I want to renegotiate my contract, everything went left. Like, it just all went bad. It all went left. So now they're telling the bitch that she can't drop no music.
Okay, and so you were able to kind of hear, and everyone's been saying, free the Meg, free the Stallion, free Meg. They wanted new music from her, and, she wasn't able to come to an agreement with her label. Since then, actually, as of today, and we just hopped right on here to speak with you guys about it, she has went to court and was able to obtain a temporary restraining order that does allow her to release music. So there's some new music on the way that we should have by this Friday. So all the fans will be looking forward to that. And then also she'll be moving forward with her lawsuit in reference to the terms of the agreement. It was interesting to us, just the topic in general, not necessarily Megan, because, we enjoy Megan. We like Megan. We like the music. We have nothing, it's really not even about Megan, but just in reference to contracts in general, especially since we just had a guest last week, right?
Yep.
So this is what we talk about all the time. We talk about contracts. We talk about the business side of things. Although I hate it for her, this is the perfect time to really just kind of put the reminder out there about how important it is to make sure that you're really looking over your agreements with a fine-tooth comb, and then also remembering that, when you're doing business and entering any partnership with anybody, if they're going to be investing in you on the front end, best believe they're going to be recouping on that back end. So that's nothing new. It's really not anything unheard of. I hate to say it like that, but that's just kind of like what it is. I saw on Twitter, and I keep referring to Twitter because that's just kind of like, where the thread is and where the dialogue has been happening for the most part that I can see. I saw some information saw some people chiming in about it being like, oh, y'all don't want black women to win. I'm just like, it's not even that deep.
It's not serious like that.
It's really not.
You gotta relax.
Yeah, like, this is the entertainment business, any entertainment lawyer would tell you. Again, we just had this conversation last week with Kim, and thanks to G for setting that up. And you guys can go back and listen to that episode. And, again, it just goes back to the basics, and so here we are. It's just one of those things.
One thing that everybody's going to have to understand that I don't think that people they realize it at a certain point is that a career starts with beginning, then it gets to a middle, then it could get, eventually gets to an end. But there's phases. basically there's phases. So when a lot of people sign these agreements in the beginning, it's because of the phase that they're in their life, in their career, right? So regardless of where Megan Thee Stallion is now, 20-year-old Megan Thee Stallion wasn't what she is right now. So signing that agreement was probably the best thing for her at that time, because no one knew where this was going. This is a big topic, which is why Onyx said we had our guest on last week that was speaking about this stuff, because she deals with publishing, royalties, all the contractual stuff that an artist goes through. She handles that stuff. You really have to understand that there's levels to where you get an agreement. There's a leverage to where you can take an agreement to another level if you have that leverage. If you don't, you kind of can't do anything at that point, especially if that person's spending a bunch of money on you, basically about to take you under their wing, guide you into stardom, and all you can do is, spit lyrics, right? So the negotiating at that time probably wasn't what she can do now, which is the only issue that I have, or not issue that I have, where I see the issue lies is why won't they renegotiate with her, right? Because now she's at a certain point where I believe she should be granted at least renegotiation. From what I was reading, when she signed when she was 20, it was 60 in her label company's favor and 40 in her favor, right? At that point, what was Megan bringing to the table at that point, right? So if someone was spending a bunch of money, if someone was getting her studio time, if someone was doing all of that at that point, and all she was doing was literally going into the booth, 40% may have been her take, and it was probably good, especially if she could get to the next level by working with these people. Nothing from nothing is nothing. So if somebody can give you something and you can at least collect something, that's worth it. It's worth that something at that time. She's blown up since then. So now she's saying we need to renegotiate, because my career is a little bit different. Not even a little bit, a lot. And she's right. I don't know what that part is. I don't know what stems from why they won't give her that. And that's why I can't talk about the nuts and bolts of that portion. But as far as somebody jumping in a contract at 20 and saying it was a shitty contract, or I should have read, even if you would have read it, even if a lawyer would have read it, no one knows what you're going to be in 10 years, 5 years, 6, 7 years, or a year after you sign. No one knows. So do you expect the person that's spending all the money to say, you know what, you're going to be huge. Let me go ahead and give you 70% of this, and I will take 30. A lot of people don't do that. Some people do, but a lot of people don't. They say, hey, we can do 50-50, or we can do 60-40. 60 right now in our favor because we putting all the costs, baby girl. All you got to do is look good and go in this booth. Now, if Megan was saying, yo, listen, I was getting 1 million streams before I even met you guys. I was getting 25,000 views on my video every time I dropped it in one day. Eventually 100,000 a month. Then that's what we call leverage. She's saying, I was doing this before I met you guys. So she could have negotiated that at that point. But I'm not going to sit here and say she signed something that she shouldn't have signed at 20 years old, because she may not have had the leverage at 20 years old that she has now, being a mega star, Megan Thee Stallion. So the people involved in this kind of makes it a little bit, of a, how can I put it, a topic that people want to talk about, because when you hear the words, oh, they're Suge Knighting her and stuff like that, now people want to kind of dive in. Nobody really knows that unless Megan says, here's a threat, here's a text, here's a, you know, so I'm not even going to get into that. But I'm also not going to say that she should have read her contract. Of course you should read your contract. It's your contract. Of course you should have a lawyer. It's a lawyer reading your contract. But that doesn't mean it wouldn't have been right for her at that time. 60-40 may have been right for that time with Megan Thee Stallion. No one knows what she was doing at that point unless you saw what she was bringing to the table. So it's iffy to me. I don't like when people say, you should have read, you shouldn't have signed that. I know people that are literally working in restaurants right now because they was offered deals
they didn't sign.
They thought
Exactly.
it was good for. And maybe they didn't get into the industry at all. You never even gave yourself a chance. And now you're not doing shit but taking orders from people.
Exactly.
I've seen it. So don't act like somebody, oh, she shouldn't have never signed that. Well, you don't know that. She could have been in a perfect position to sign that. Like, yeah, this is all I'm bringing to the table. I'm with y'all. Let's roll. Let's rock. But if something starts to take off, I could renegotiate, right? Absolutely. Which is what usually happens. Not sure why they're not giving her the, leeway to renegotiate that contract. I'm not sure.
The thing is, I actually know her management that she was with before she, did sign to the label and did get with Roc Nation, before all these things took place. And she did have quite a bit of a buzz, which usually happens, which is why, you put in these positions to be offered a contract or, where someone would want to come along and invest. And I think when it comes to the reading part where people are saying, why didn't she read? Blogs will take, what she was saying in her live video and then kind of people took different pieces and ran, but she came back and clarified and said, well, I read it, but I didn't understand it at that time. So it wasn't that for her, she was just saying, well, I did read what it said, but I just, I didn't quite understand what it meant. So she didn't quite understand that she was signing the 60-40. And I think what's happening now is she's saying if she would have known she was signing 60-40, she wouldn't have. But even then, for me, I'm like, listen, I'm in the same boat. Not anything is better than nothing, but at the same time, if it puts you in a better position than you were, and you're willing to, and you're ready for that, if it puts you in a better position today than you were yesterday, and you're okay with that, and you're comfortable with those terms, then do what you need to do. And like you said, I can name actually 5 on my hand right now who didn't, and they were going. But again, we look forward to working out for the best for all parties involved. Speaking of that, there's another story on, and you hear these things all the time. And when you guys hear about people going to court and suing, this isn't the first or the last that you'll hear. This happens all the time. This just happens to be what it is because it's Meg, right? So you have 3 6 Mafias going on tour, right? And just to get back full circle, now today there's a story with a lawsuit against them with people from the area saying that they've stolen some music and people are ready to get paid. So it's one of those things where it kind of goes back to, again, like you said, as a producer, right, having things in place to where you can get paid. So if that is the case, then those things will come out in court. But it just kind of goes back to what you and Kim were talking about, as in, sometimes she couldn't track down people to pay. Sometimes they couldn't get you to get your credit. So it's just one of those things where you try to put yourself in the best position to win and then kind of go from there. You can't receive what you're supposed to receive if you don't have your paperwork in place. I mean, at least have your paperwork together. That's kind of where I'm at. I'm off contracts and more into the business and just the paperwork, just the business side.
If you don't know how to do that stuff, contact somebody that does, right? Contact somebody that knows how to do that stuff. Have them look at things for you. Everybody, we mentioned on the show, You learn every day when it comes to this business. It's all types of ways people can eat off you. You know, right now on the Love and Hip Hop shows, like both of the Love and Hip Hop shows, there's literally management disputes. On Miami, you got Julian Booth and Trina going at it. On New York, you got Rich Dollars and Olivia going at it. A lot of this stuff isn't explained to folks on how people can make money off of what they're dealing with when it comes to a song. Somebody that comes in and sings a song might not own any part of publishing of that record, copyright of that record. So if that record goes on to make $300,000 to $400,000, it's up to the person that owns the master of that record to tell you, hey, I'm putting you in on this. You know what I mean? Because I brought you in to sing this song. Really, he could say, yo, here's $200 to sing this song. And that's work for hire. You just been hired to sing a song, right? Mm-hmm. So that's what you get. If the song goes off and he gets a $250,000 for it, guess what? That's his $250,000. Unless he decides, hey, couldn't have got there without you. Good thing you know, I had you sign these splits. Here's so-and-so. If he didn't have you sign these splits, guess what? He could keep all of that money. And then people come back and like, yo, how could you do this to me? Yo, did you know that this was happening when you recorded this record? So never think that you're too good for an agreement. Is the agreement right for you? And all I keep telling everybody that's talking about this Megan Thee Stallion stuff is maybe that deal was good for Megan Thee Stallion at that point in her life. Maybe that deal was good for 20-year-old Megan Thee Stallion. But I totally agree with Megan Thee Stallion when she says, I'm not there no more. I want to renegotiate. That's all I want to do. She said, I didn't say I wanted to leave them. I didn't say I wanted to go off on my own and stuff. I just know I'm worth more now. Why they won't renegotiate or what? See, that's the point that people don't know about and shouldn't speculate about because we have no clue. Which Absolutely. Is, I'm assuming why she won in court. I'm assuming that, you know, her saying, listen, I didn't say anything about leaving these people behind or anything. I didn't say anything about them not being paid. I just want to renegotiate. That's probably why she won, and now she's able to drop music.
Well, we'll definitely be keeping our eyes on this, and we hope that, you know, out of all the countless articles, news, biopics, documentaries, interviews, suits, whatever, that it just continues to show and display that, again, the music business, the entertainment business is a business. It's not just a cliche. I know everybody keeps saying 90% business, 10%. It is a business. It's how people live. They pay their bills. It's nothing to be played with. And that is why a lot of artists at some point have had so many different separate ventures. We talk about this all the time. I feel like a broken record at this point. And I made it my business to understand it for over a decade. That's actually the first thing I did was learn it from those who I felt knew best at the time. You know, like you said, ask someone, hire someone. Those are the things that I did because I didn't know. And it only takes you one time to get burned, and then you're like, not again. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, guys, check our interview out with Kim, and I think that's it pretty much.
Kim Smith Dockery, 25 years plus in the game, worked for Teddy Riley, Dallas Austin, Think It's a Game, YFN Lucci, Rich Homie Quan, Trinidad James, Flight Time, Jimmy Jam, Terry Lewis. A lot of history. She was just on our show. That's the last one. You're going to be able to see it on the YouTube. Make sure you check it out. It's about publishing. It's about contracts. It's also about her history, but very relevant to what we're talking about today, of course. But again, let's not just try to, kind of excoriate the people that gave Megan that contract when she was 20. Or let's not say Megan should have read the contract, because she said she read it, she just didn't understand it. Let's just say maybe at the time of those parties into that agreement, maybe it was the best for both parties at that time. Who knows? She gets to drop her music. She went to court. She won. Hopefully all parties come out of this clean. Everybody gets what they want. But understand, you're not always a star. You start from somewhere. You see what I'm saying? That's the first thing I thought about when I heard this story. Like, is this something like she's wanting to leave them or don't want to have nothing to do with them? That could be for any reasons. But when she said, I just want to renegotiate, I don't see why that's an issue. She's a superstar now. She's Megan Thee Stallion. Puts out great music. Just wants to renegotiate. So we'll see how it goes. But G14 The Cut, we have to stay on top of it. Speak about it, especially since this is what we always deal with. You can go back to a bunch of our podcasts. We've been talking about the business of music, how to do things, how to do it correctly. And again, we still learning. So we signing off. Shouts out to Megan Thee Stallion, Carl Crawford, all the parties involved. Hopefully y'all get that stuff together, man. But we want to hear music from Megan Thee Stallion. She signed to Rock Nation now. It's huge. So they can also, all they can do is get more people the bag. So I don't see what the issue is, but maybe more information will come out as the days go on. But yeah, I'm glad we hopped on to talk about it. Hopefully everybody wins. Win-win for everybody, that's all.